Mohammed Kudus, wow, what a sensational footballer. Fantastic performance today against Wolves. 2 really well taken goals, 2 completely different goals as well. Brilliant performance from him at the London Stadium. But what a footballer. I thoroughly enjoy watching him. Every time I go to watch West Ham play now, I'm thinking I cannot wait to see Mohammed Kudus. When he gets the ball, I get excited. I expect things to happen, and he delivers as well. What a superb transfer this has been for West Ham, and I'm excited to talk about him actually for the next 10 minutes. But before I do, please do subscribe if you're new to Hammers Chat, and drop a like on the video as well. Helps out the video, helps out the channel, it makes me a little bit happier as well. Also, a little bit of admin. Last chance to go shopping at hammerschatstore.com. If you order anything today or tomorrow, which is Monday, I'll get it sent out on Tuesday, and hopefully, if the Royal Mail do their job, because everything's sent track 48, I'll be with you in plenty time for Christmas Day. So the last chance to go shopping for a West Ham fan, or for yourself really, and get that Christmas jumper as well. There's still a few Christmas jumpers there. hammerschatstore.com, link is in the description below. Now, managers. All managers will have problems, various different levels of problems, when they're at a football club. During their tenure, they will come across issues. Now, some of them are self-inflicted. So in the case of David Moyes, the potential fatigue of this squad is self-inflicted. The lack of form from some of the squad players. David Moyes has had a big part to play in that. So it's a bit of a problem, a big problem. But the manager is kind of the manager's own fault. Then you've got the bit in the middle, where it's not the biggest problem in the world. So, for example, the left wing role at the minute. David Moyes has spoken about how West Ham perhaps need to buy somebody that can fulfil the left side of our attack in the January transfer window. At the minute, Lucas Paqueta is playing there and he's doing well, but it's not the long-term solution. But because we're getting by, it's probably not keeping David Moyes up at night. It's not the end of the world. A bit of a problem, but we can fix it relatively easily. It's nothing to worry about. But then you've got the complete opposite. A good problem. You can sometimes have a good problem at a football club and as a manager, and I think David Moyes is on his way to having one in the form of Mohammed Kudus and Jarrod, Bowen, because at the minute it's working. Bowen's up front, Kudus on the right. Fantastic. They're both playing well. Bowen's playing well, Kudus is playing fantastically out on that right hand side. We've got the African nations coming up, and then we've got what happens post African nations, and that's sort of what I want to touch on today as well. But Mohammed Kudus, wow, I was excited. Before summer signings, Mavropanos, no opinion. I didn't have any opinion on it. Didn't know what to expect. To be honest with you, I still don't know what to expect. I've been relatively pleased with what I've seen. I've also been relatively worried with what I've seen as well. It's still jury's out for me on Mavropanos, but pre-West Ham, I didn't have an opinion on Mavropanos. Edson Alvarez, I expected him to do well. I thought it was a really good signing. I've been impressed with what I've seen, but I've probably got what I expected from Edson Alvarez. And the same can be said for James Ward-Prowse. This is what I expected. He's probably better at the sort of box-to-box style aspect of the game than I thought he would. At Southampton, I thought he was quite deep, quite safe, quite boring, if you want to call it that. But he's added that sort of late runs into the box. I didn't know he had that in his locker. So he's impressed me in that regard. But generally speaking, Alvarez and Ward-Prowse have been what I expected. And so's Kudus. However, the difference between Kudus and the other three is I had really high expectations for Kudus. Now, you can go back and watch my videos from the summer if you want. I advise you don't, because I'm going to tell you roughly what I said. And that is potentially world class. When we were signing Mohammed Kudus, I felt like it was a coup. I didn't have that feeling with the other three. But with Kudus, I thought, nah, this can't be true. When he was heavily linked with Brighton, I say heavily linked with Brighton, when he was in negotiations with Brighton, I thought, hang on a minute, he might go to Brighton. Now, Brighton have done really well, but I still believe that West Ham are a bigger pool than what Brighton currently are. We've just won a trophy a couple of months prior to the transfer window opening. So hang on a minute, if he's going to Brighton, why are we not in for him? We're being linked to him. I got my hopes up. I thought, please get him, because I'll get really excited to see Kudus in the claret and blue at West Ham. And then it came out that it was him or Paqueta. Paqueta goes to City, then we'll get Kudus, and obviously the Paqueta betting thing comes through. Oh no, are we going to get him? But we still signed Kudus, and I was absolutely buzzing with that signing. My expectations of Kudus was way too high. It's probably unfair on him, because I thought he's good enough to go in there and become our best player. That's what I thought. From what I'd seen of him at Ajax and a bit for Ghana, it was quite a lot. I watched Ajax quite a lot. It's just the same with this season. I still tune into them frequently enough. A bit of a disaster, but I still tune in frequently enough. And it was a coup. I thought he's got the ability to go on and play for someone better than West Ham. He does. He can go and play for Man City, for Liverpool. Take your pick. He is good enough. And he might see West Ham as a stepping stone. And I think the reality of it is he probably does. Now the proof for that, and it's small, but when he was negotiating with Brighton, he wanted a release clause in his contract so he could get out of Brighton should he wish to. Now, obviously, that fell through because Brighton wasn't keen on it. The money aspect wasn't there. That move didn't go through. The move to Chelsea didn't go through. We came along. Now, as far as we understand it, there's no release clause, but we had to give him a bit more extra money in order to get that out of his contract. Good. It feels like we've perhaps learnt our lesson with Paqueta. Now, I don't mind it. If we have to put it in there in order to get Kudus, then do it. But by the sounds of it, we didn't have to do it. We were able to use money in order to get it sorted, and he's come to West Ham. West Ham have got this contract locked in. If another club wants Kudus, whether it be January, the summer, fine. It doesn't bother me whatsoever. It means he's playing really well. If Man City come after your player, it means they're a damn fine player, which means you've done something right in the transfer window, and you're also doing something correct during the season to get the performances out of that player to make Manchester City interested. And also, bring your bloody checkbook, because he ain't going to be cheap. Kudus has essentially turned in to an £80 million player like that. In a handful of months, he's doubled in price and then some. If someone was come knocking in January, it'd probably be more than that because it's January transfer window. In the summer, you'd be looking at least 80 million to get Mohammed Kudus out of West Ham, doubling his worth in one season. That would be a fantastic achievement. And I strongly believe he's heading that way. He's already there, and I think he's probably going to get even more expensive should someone want him out of West Ham. Because what a fantastic footballer. Now, when we signed him, I thought, here we go, this is a perfect signing. We've now got a replacement for Mohammed Kudus. Jarrod Bowen can go up front, but Kudus can play up front. I never expected to see him in midfield. A lot of people say his better position would be centrally. I didn't really want to see that at West Ham because I think it can get quite congested in the middle in the Premier League, and I'd prefer to see Kudus out on the right, one-on-one with a left back. Like I said, the videos are there from the summer. Go watch them. So now he's come in, he's smashed now on that right-hand side. I'm absolutely buzzing. 8 goals in 21 appearances so far. Just the one assist, which was against Burnley. But they will come. Assists will come as he gets used to his teammates. And Jarrod Bowen, with the greatest respect, isn't the best target man in the world for a winger to be hitting with crosses. But in terms of the goals, 8 in 21 is superb. But if you were to break that down further, he's got six subsequent appearances at the start of the season and 1 goal. So we deduct them. He's got 4 goals and 1 assist and 7 starts in the Premier League. Superb return. And then he's got 2 goals in a further 7 starts in all competitions. But 3 goals. So he's got 8 goals so far for West Ham. Fantastic. Far better than I expected. And I get worried when I have these high expectations of players. I almost get worried that they're going to let me down a little bit. Kudus hasn't. He's somehow exceeded them. He is an unbelievable player. He's not world class now. He's not world class yet. I don't think we've got any world class players. But out of everybody in the squad, he's the one that could go on and become world class. He's more likely to join Man City than Lucas Paqueta. Well, maybe not, because I think Paqueta suits the way Man City play. But in regards to reaching the top at football, I think Kudus has that potential to go on and do it. Now, obviously, we've got a bit of an issue coming up in January. He goes to African Nations. So right now it's working. Bowen is striker, Kudus on the right, fantastic. We're seeing good performances from both. We're seeing goals from both. Before it felt like the threat was mainly Jarrod Bowen on the right. Now it's spread out between those two. We've got 2 really clinical finishers at this club, and they're getting on really well. Their link-up play on the pitch is fantastic. Paqueta's getting involved now. He's 2 lovely passes for him. 2 good passes for Bowen as well. One of them hit the post, one of them ended up in the back of the net. Paqueta was linking up well. Arguably, more reason to try and get Paqueta back into the middle, but I go back to what I said at the start of the video. David Moyes has insinuated he wants to get more Paqueta back centrally, but for now he's playing on the left because we don't have an alternative. I disagree with that. I think we do have alternatives. However, that's what the manager has said. The manager said Paqueta's playing there, but it's not his best position. Well, that gets exciting. So Paqueta playing behind Bowen and Kudus? Yes, please. Now, obviously in January he goes to African Nations. I am dreading it. I am absolutely dreading it because we can't replace him. He's irreplaceable. Sure, we can put Bowen on the right, and this is what I think we will do. I think Bowen will go out on the right hand side and we'll see someone come in through the centre. Whether that's Antonio's back, whether we do sign someone, whether it's Ings, well, I think we'll see a new someone different in the striker role, and Jarrod Bowen will go back out onto his right hand side. Now that's Jarrod Bowen's best position. I've seen him enough times as a striker to know he can do a job there, but I think he's far better out on the right hand side. But here's the problem: I think that's Kudus' best position. So during January, we that's fine. We've got a replacement for Kudus. We've got a replacement for Kudus. We just don't necessarily have one for Jarrod Bowen at the moment. But when Kudus returns, I think David Moyes has got a big problem. Because obviously the natural solution would be we'll put Bowen back up front and put Kudus back on the right. But what if we've signed a new striker and he's doing well? What if Antonio's back and he's doing well as striker? Because Kudus is too good to not play. Jarrod Bowen's too good to not play. And this reminds me of a problem that Scotland had. Not anymore, but we did. When Steve Clarke came took over as Scotland boss. Just stick with, I know you're thinking, why are you bringing Scotland? Just stick with me. When Clarke came in, we obviously had Kieran Tierney and Andy Robertson. Two fantastic left backs. Now, some will dispute one way to say, but I think one of them is world class, and I think the other one is the next tier, whatever you call that next tier down, elite. I think Kieran Tierney is fantastic. He's injury prone, but his ability, I think, is unbelievable. And I think Andy Robertson's world class. But even if we just say two top left backs, right? We've got two top left backs for the sake of the argument. I know someone's going to say, so I have all this video about Kudus. Someone will start disputing me in the comments about whether Robertson's world class or not. So don't stick to that comment. They're two top left backs, right? Hopefully we can agree with that. But that was Clarke's problem, because they were arguably our two best players. So we had a squad of 25, our two best players were both a left back. So what do you do? Well, he played one left centre back and one left wing back. And I remember Andy Robertson, this was early on in his tenure. I go back to what I said. Managers will always have issues. And this was a big one for Steve Clarke. And his solution was, they both play. But we got beat, or we drew a game. I think it was Israel away. And it was a disappointing result. It had big consequences. Probably us not going to the World Cup. Shock. And, you know, Andy Robertson was getting interviewed as the captain. He said, well, we've got two world-class left-backs, but neither of us are playing left-back. And it was a very damning comment to make towards Clarke, who was quite new to the role and obviously just suffered a bit of a blow to his reign. There's question marks over his future as manager. And then you've got the captain saying, hang on a minute, I'm a top-class left-back. Tierney's a top... Neither of us are actually playing left-back. And I can't help but watch us at the minute, and I don't really think this during the game, but during matches, I think, what's Moyes going to do? Because I think he's got a top-class right winger in Jarrod Bowen, and I think he's got a top-class right winger in Mohammed Kudus. Now, obviously, like I said, you can move Bowen up front, you could possibly move Kudus up front, move him into number 10 role. But it doesn't mean that's their best position. I think Kudus' best position for West Ham is on the right, and I think Jarrod Bowen's best position for West Ham is on the right. And I think for now, it's fine, it's working as it is. But I think after the African nations should receive big performances from Jarrod Bowen out on the right-hand side, David Moyes might find himself with a problem, which is A, big, and B, self-inflicted. But a bloody good problem to have as well. Kudus is some footballer, and he's going right to the top of football. I said it in the summer, but before when he was being linked to us, I felt that way. I see him week in, week out, and he's the perfect player for David Moyes. And Moyes gets a lot of criticism for taking ages for players to settle in. Well, none here. He's gone straight into that team. Yes, he had to wait patiently. His first 6 appearances in the Premier League were off the bench. But while he was doing that, he was starting games in the Carabao Cup and he was starting games in the Conference League. He was getting minutes, and we were winning. At the start of the season, when Kudus was on the bench, we were winning. We were beating Brighton. We were beating Chelsea. We were picking up points. Kudus had to be patient. Then when the form dropped, Kudus came in and he stayed in the team. He came off the bench against Newcastle. We scored the goal. We got the draw. That was the turning point. And then he was in the team and he stayed in the team since then. Moyes has managed Kudus fantastically well since he's come to this club. And even though I can get frustrated with his football, not in the last 2 games, thoroughly enjoyed it. At times, he allows Kudus to play. We see the best of Mohammed Kudus. And Kudus grafts. He works really hard. He did at Ajax as well. This transfer always felt like it was going to be a success because of the way that Kudus plays. But never expected it to be this bloody good. And Tell you what, even though I thought Kudus was a fantastic footballer, I never expected him to be this bloody good either. Thoroughly enjoying it, loving it. Do you know what? Bring on Liverpool. Because when you've got Jarrod Bowen up front, you've got Mohammed Kudus on right, and got Lucas Paqueta playing like he did today, you've got a chance against anyone because you've got goals in your team. Bring on Wednesday, and definitely bring on Man United next weekend. Can't wait, and I'll tell you what, can't wait to see Mohammed Kudus play either. Anyway, I'm going to shut up and disappear. If you've enjoyed this video, please do drop a like on it, subscribe to Hammers Chat, and like I said, if you fancy getting yourself a little treat for Christmas, or someone needs to get you something for West Ham, send them the link to hammerchatstore.com, but order it. Please order it by Monday night. If you order it by Tuesday night, it'll probably get sent on Thursday, but definitely order it by Monday night and I'll get it sent on Tuesday. I promise you it'll be gone Tuesday morning. I'll be pulling an all-nighter Monday night if I have to. Anyway, tonight it's date night. I say that's why I'm all dressed. I've literally changed my top since earlier, haven't I? That's all I've done. It's date night for me. I'm going to take a few hours off because I've been doing nothing but orders all weekend, so I'm going to shut up, disappear. We're off on a date. I'll catch up with you tomorrow. Myself and Gonzo will be back with a preview, and I'll be live tomorrow morning with Charlie. Not sure what time yet, but me and Charlie will be live for a catch up. We'll see you then.